It's fine.
It's fine. It's cool. It's whatever.
We're great.
I wish we had more time to actually do this and put more time and effort into it, you know?
Yeah.
But jobs and things.
Life. My God.
Gross. I hate it.
Hi. Somebody else has the brain cell today. Kira.
Is it too spicy? Is it too bland? Is it just right? Who knows? Maybe we'll find out. Emily.
Welcome back to Gremlins by Nature. What was that?
I don't know. I was trying to go with like.
No, I like it. I like it. I'm
okay.
just like we got multiple sentences happening. I like it.
It's not all of them are one-shot lines. Some of them are an adventure.
Some of them are pages.
Pages. Many hundreds of pages.
Very much so.
So, Kira, what's your favorite fairy tale?
Oh my God. Good question. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Let's see. I personally really like Red Riding Hood. It may or may not have a comic based on it. Anyway,
Oh.
Emily, what's yours?
I don't know, because related to our topic we're going to get into here in a minute, there are some that I like the Disney-fied version of, but then also some that I'm like, the OG is fucked up, but
Oh yeah.
yes.
All of them. There's not a fairy tale that is not fucked up when you find its actual origin.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite thing to do, baby.
And welcome to today's episode. We are talking about the origins of fairy tales.
Ooh, it's spicy. Sometimes murder.
Sometimes pigeons pecking eyeballs.
Sometimes even incest, but that's
Yeah.
that and bestiality. You know, it happens a lot.
It do. It really do.
Unfortunately. But yeah, no. Secondary special interest of Kira's other than mythology is fairy tales, and they kind of go hand in hand with each other, in my opinion.
They kind of do, yeah.
Very similar in the sense of how like they're laid out, and that they do try to teach you a moral of some variety. But I don't know, there's something about fairy tales that I'm like, I could
I feel like because I grew up being a Disney kid and like that's how I got introduced to fairy tales, and now that I own 2 books, one about the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales and Brothers Grimm, which Kira and I both have books for here.
yes.
I legitimately want to read through these more and actually read up on some of them. So maybe we'll do a follow-up episode after I get the chance to do so.
Yes.
And we talk about the more like obscure ones that we learn about, because that would be fun. Because obviously the Disney-fied ones that are very public now are easier to find in these books and discuss the differences between the two of them. Because I also just found one that now I really want to read. It's called The Goblin and the Husker.
Trying to remember if I know that one.
Huckster? And it has goblin in the title. Oh god. Okay.
Yeah, we're experiencing wildfires.
Yeah, there's some crazy shit happening here. So
we are safe. We are safe.
yeah, we are good right now. We can smell the fire from my apartment, and there's some very dark clouds. But as far as I'm aware, it's not endangering us at the moment.
Yes.
And let's
despite
just hope.
the emergency broadcast system sound that just came over our phone.
Yeah, but
we're fine.
To those that are currently being affected by it, we hope you're safe.
Yes.
And doing okay.
Yes. I hope you have a place where you can go, where you can spend the night, have food, just not be in danger.
Yeah.
Because it's scary.
Very much so. There's a lot of those going on lately.
Yeah, there was one that was like closer to down home on the shore.
Yeah. Yeah, there's out in Alberta there's been quite a few too, and
Mhm.
spooky times,
Yeah. Oh, now I'm really smelling it.
right?
I, I, I was having a harder time like smelling it earlier, but like
Mhm.
it smells like a campfire, and
It
that's making me very confused.
Yeah, it really does. Spooky setting, I guess, for talking about spooky origins of fairy tales.
Yes.
Um, I was just kind of taking a flip through the book here. We were kind of doing this a little bit before we started recording to, take a look. But I'm currently looking at the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, which Kira off podcast gave me a bit of a description between the difference between Hans Christian Andersen and the Brothers Grimm.
Mm.
Would you like to give that to the podcast as well?
I'm
So
trying to remember what I said.
for people that aren't in the know, like I was not about 10 minutes ago?
Okay. Hans Christian Andersen is known for having conceptualized each and every one of his stories that he has ever put out. They are his own original work and share motifs about just like learning life in general, which is a common thing throughout fairy tales. The Brothers Grimm, while they did write some of their own original stories, they were more known as story collectors. So tales that they have heard, they ended up scribing down and, editing a little bit so it was more palatable for the public. And that's where we get theirs. Yes. Fun fact, I spend way too much time thinking about this. That's besides the point.
I love it though. Like I wish I had more time in the run of a day to deep dive into this kind of stuff, because I do find it very fascinating how not even just with fairy tales, but like with a lot of things in modern media, how dark and twisted of an origin it can have and how romanticized they make it.
Yes. If it's not painfully clear, as much as I love Disney, because I am a Disney kid, still I'm a Disney adult.
Yeah.
They very much, because you gotta make it child friendly, because you gotta get that Disney merch money,
Yep. Gotta make that clout.
Yeah, but I think it's important to know the original stories, or cause like there are multiple versions
Yeah.
of each story, and throughout time we change things. Like for instance, like Goldilocks has gone through 15 different iterations. Originally, one of the original character of Goldilocks was actually a fox, and we come down throughout the ages, and she slowly turns into a woman, at once an old woman, now into a younger woman. She used to be called Silverhair, and now she's Goldilocks, and it's a whole thing. Remember how I said I wanted to get
I love this. So we were like, I am a little tired today and had a bit of a long weekend. So we were kind of browsing through our books and discussing if we wanted to do the podcast or not. And I was like, in classic Emily fashion, I don't really have anything prepared to talk about either of these. Although I am very curious and like I'll just look it up and read a bit right out of the book while we're here recording.
They also have audio books.
Oh, cool.
So you can.
Yeah. But then I was like, hey, Kira, you obviously know a lot about this. Does it just want to be a Kira lesson lecture? Because I would gladly learn anything from Kira. So here we are.
Now I'm nervous.
No, stop it.
So I guess it depends on what you wanna know. Like, do we?
I'd like. Okay, so you mentioned Goldilocks, and
I do have a PowerPoint, but I'm currently saving that for PowerPoint night.
Oh, is this what your PowerPoint stuff is about?
which we never ended up doing, but it's okay.
Because somebody doesn't remind anybody about these things.
It's fine. We'll do it eventually.
Gonna make it happen.
That was not supposed to be shady. It's just it was like on the night that we were going to do it, I was not informed that we were doing it.
Well, it was a surprise birthday party, so yeah, you were not informed it was happening.
But again, thank you for my birthday.
You're welcome. Yeah, we just gotta get together and do it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Although there are 5 of us, and that's gonna be a long night.
Mm.
But yeah. So I don't know. I was just thinking, focusing more on the generalized ones that everyone knows about.
Mm.
What are some of your favorite, like, contradictions? Easy enough. I can talk about one because it's one that I know.
Mm.
Is like Cinderella.
Yes.
So obviously we've all seen Cinderella, the Disney version, or if you haven't, she's the cleaner daughter, blah, 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 blah. She's, bossed around, basically made a slave to her stepsisters and stepmom?
Mm.
Yeah. And gets a wish from a fairy godmother, essentially, and gets to go to the ball, dances with the prince, runs away, loses a shoe. He goes on a hunt to try to find her. In the Disney version, he just goes around the town getting all these women to try on this shoe until he eventually finds her and, oh my god, I recognize you now because you put a shoe on. Anyway.
Which kind of says something, like...
Oh, very stupid. And
kinky.
Someone's in defeat. The biggest difference is how... they got it right. It's a little toned down in the Disney movie, but obviously the stepsisters and the stepmother are not nice to Cinderella. They're very cruel and they're very mean and so on and so forth. That is a common theme that they kept from the original, or one of the originals. And essentially the the Brothers Grimm version, it's just a little more gruesome in the sense of women were cutting off toes and shaving their heels down to try to get their foot to fit in this slipper so that they could be crowned the princess and go off and marry the prince and this, that, and the other thing. And so he's on a hunt for it, and they finally gets to the stepsisters, and exactly that. They're cutting off toes and chunks of their feet.
He has to come back several times because he was too stupid to see that the shoe was filling with blood there. He got halfway back to the castle, and I was like, oh, blood. Then, oh, blood.
Yeah. And then, hold on, you have a third woman in the house. She comes down. Oh, it fits perfectly. Cool. Hello, I'm stealing you away. We're going to go get married now. And then, on the way, this version in the book, on the way there, the stepsisters each get an eye pecked out by a pigeon. And then, on the way home, they're walking on the opposite sides, and they get the other eye pecked out. Again, from a pigeon.
Karma.
Don't be a bitch. It'll get you.
Which, a basic motif of that is be the kindness you want to see in the world, and the universe will reward you in turn.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think one of, like, my favorite contradictions is about the Little Mermaid, actually. And it has to do with, like, it's, in the Disney version, it's relatively painless. Her existing with 2 legs. She can walk fine, going all over Timbuktu, whatever. In the original Hans Christian Andersen version, every step she takes, it feels like knives are being shoved into her feet.
Oh, shit.
Every time she moves her legs, she's in constant agony. And she still goes around the town doing all these things, and she can't verbalize how much pain she's in.
Oh, because she still can't talk? That's part of it? Okay.
And in the Disney version, she gets the man
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah,
it was
it's
the
Disney.
90s.
Yeah.
But in the original story, she doesn't get Prince Eric.
Hmm.
She um she attends the wedding of Eric and his lover because he only saw Ariel as a sister kind of thing. And because she didn't get her true love's kiss, and she couldn't, because like the other option was, if cause she wanted to be human,
Mm-hmm.
the other option was to murder him, and she could get a human soul that way, because that's how that works. That's She couldn't bring herself to do that, so she jumps into the ocean and kills herself, and
Damn.
becomes Ariad, which is a essentially like a nymph of the air, if you will, and she is meant to roam the earth until she hears 100 children laughing, and every time, but for every time a child cries, a year is added onto her sentence.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it's a little depressing.
A little fucked up.
Not
sad.
exactly child friendly, but
No.
it's cool.
Yeah, they really switched the ending up on that one.
Yeah,
Damn.
Moida.
Moida.
So that's like one of like my favorite ones, because it was kind of the first one that I really got into like the original story with,
Mm-hmm.
and like, cause like growing up, you know, Disney, and also I had children version copies um fairy tales, and specifically I had Mother Goose
Mm-hmm.
tales, and I had Hans Christian Andersen, because his are technically more child appropriate.
Yeah.
And so like those ones are still more palatable for children, so you know you're not going to give them, you know, nightmares, because there are a couple of the original stories that when you like really like deep dive into it, it's like, huh, they did what with who for how many biscuits? Like it's a little much.
It's like I never knew either. I find the wildest thing for me with this is I didn't really know Hans Christian Andersen or the Brothers Grimm existed. Actually, I think the first time I had heard of Brothers Grimm was almost through Harry Potter,
Okay.
because in Harry Potter they have like the brothers that they're the ones that get the cloak and the stone and the wand and everything. And it was through that they have the Beetle and the Bird, which is all like the Harry Potter, and then somebody mentioned like Brothers Grimm, and I was like, oh, well, what's that? And they're like, oh, like that's like real life version of like all these little tales and everything that they're telling. I was like, oh, so in my brain, Brothers Grimm was always like a Harry Potter thing to me for some reason,
Okay.
because it just associated to me for that in that way. But I found it almost a bit of a shell shock, because without knowing the background to it, I just took Disney at face value and all those. And then when I started learning more and more about the different backgrounds to where these ones originally came from, I was like, I'm sorry, what?
It kind of shakes up your childhood.
Yeah, like Hansel and Gretel. They didn't go and just get fed sweets and all. They were cooked into pies. The witch made people pie, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, they made
One of the
people pie,
versions?
but
Yeah.
not out of Hansel and Gretel.
No, but they were like fed people pie, not candy.
Yeah.
And like
People pie. Yeah.
basically captured and just
One of them was almost fattened to death, and the other was starved to death. But
yeah.
And
It's
then there's a
fucking wild.
swan that carries them away. Isn't that lovely?
it is just like a shell shock. Like, you get introduced to them as these happy-go-lucky,
Yeah.
like, things, and then it's like, oh, no.
Which I understand taking stories and making them more like for the public kind of thing, because that is how you start to develop piqued interest into things, and hopefully people will further their knowledge into it kind of thing. I do think that it wouldn't hurt to not necessarily go as intense as some of the stories in their original form are, but at least like find like a happy middle ground, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like, make...
Because again, we love the Disney movies, love them, but there is something to be said that the endings are just a little too different sometimes.
And in some cases, I find that the endings that were switched for Disney take away from the lesson that was supposed to be taught.
Exactly. Because...
like, in Little Mermaid, for example, I don't exactly know off the top of my head what the, like, intention of that fairy tale was, but, like, she made all these sacrifices, and you know, and that's a lot of the arguments that people make with Ariel in Disney is she sacrificed everything just to be with him, and he sacrificed nothing.
Yes. I'm trying to remember what the original motif for it is, and I think it is kind of close to like, do not sacrifice yourself for others. It, like, quote me if I'm wrong, but I know Patty will.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure Patty's got lots on this.
But when you see it in its Disney form, the fact that she still gets the man, gets her happy ending, doesn't exactly sell the only do what you can for yourself because you are not responsible for others.
Yeah, exactly.
And do not rely on others kind of thing. So, you know, it... Again, that's not... like, that lesson in itself, probably not the best one to teach kids in general, just because...
No.
Because it's like... Yes, okay, take care of yourself and put yourself first, because that is what you should do, because you are in charge of your own life. But, like, you also have to show that it has consequences. And, no offense, but Disney Ariel didn't really go through consequences.
No, not at all. She had a witch be kind of mean to her a little bit and steal her voice. The witch, she ended up...
Which she signed a contract. Like, she knew what she was doing.
Yeah. And she ends up getting her voice back in the Disney version, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in the sequel, she goes on to have kids.
Yep.
Which, I want to say... Can we just say that is probably one of the better Disney sequels that has ever occurred? Like, there's not many Disney sequels that are very, very good.
No.
There's a reason why a lot of them are direct-to-video. And saying that, I realize that some of you that are listening might be young enough that you don't know what that means.
That makes me so sad.
I'm like, oh no. Like, for instance, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame sequel, while I like it in its own, like as its own thing, it is not.
I don't...
It's okay if you haven't seen it.
I don't know. I haven't... I don't even... I know I've seen Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Which the first Disney movie of that, cinematic masterpiece. The songs, the art style, but I mean, we all know that like Disney sequels have a tendency to get that art downgrade, you know?
Yeah.
So imagine the art downgrade, but with unnecessary romance.
Yeah.
And I mean, good news. Quasimodo finally gets his happy ever after, but that wasn't the point of the story.
Is it Esmeralda that's in that one?
First movie Esmeralda, yes, but they don't get together, kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
And they never do because Esmeralda ends up with a soldier named Phoebus, and her and Phoebus have a child in the sequel.
Yeah.
And there's a circus. It's a whole thing. I highly recommend watching the second one if you can find it. It might be on Disney Plus if you have Disney Plus. Who knows? Maybe it's on YouTube. Torrent it. I don't care.
Yeah, I might have to. There's a lot of Disney.
Pirate it.
There's a lot of Disney Channel, or not Disney Channel, but
Well, we could do a whole episode on Disney Channel movies.
oh god, yeah.
We are of that generation. It's fine. But yeah, no, that sequel. If I didn't know what movie came before it, it'd be fine. It's good.
It's good all on its own, but not as a sequel.
Yes.
Yeah.
And holy crap, the art that really does have a downgrade.
Really?
It
Oh, that is
like
that is a not impressed face.
Like it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. I still praise the people at Disney because Disney people work hard. Support artists. But you can tell that movie was made as a cash grab.
I'm like trying to picture it in my brain, and now that I think about it, yeah, I can.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, make sure that your character's pupils kind of go the right way. There's a couple of scenes where they do like a close up, and it just looks like the pupils are going the right.
Oh my god, really? I mean, I guess also as an animator yourself,
maybe
like,
that's just me being picky. That might just be me being picky.
well, I mean,
it's like almost still shot, and it just looks like she's.
Oh no. Yeah, that's not
Again, nothing but love to other animators. You work very hard. And I am so proud.
And I guess, back then a lot of it was done more by hand than it is now.
Exactly. It's hard to keep track of.
But it's a funny thing as an animator for you to be able to look back and
nowadays
now,
it's like,
right?
oh. I mean, there's funny things like that throughout things. But anyway, that was a little bit of a side tangent.
That's all good.
So.
Sorry, I won't lie, I've been a little distracted. I'm trying to, like, keep up on these wildfires to see how things are going.
That's fair. That's totally fair. This was an interesting time to choose to record.
It's fine. We weren't expecting this to happen today, so it's no biggie.
I mean, no one ever plans wildfires, you know?
No, we would prefer them not to happen, if
Unless
anything.
it's Fern Gully.
What is that?
Have you never seen Fern Gully?
What is Fern Gully?
It's a movie.
Oh.
It has Robin Williams. You know Batty? Do you know Batty? It also has...
Is that the animated one?
Yeah,
where he's literally a bat named Batty?
Yeah, and Tim Curry's in it, too.
Never watched it, but I've seen bits and pieces of it through probably TikTok.
Oh. You need to watch it.
I guess so, apparently.
It's so good. And they have a sequel of that one, too.
Oh,
and
no.
that one's actually decent.
Okay.
I mean, it also touches on the, an older, like, Australia has a lot of bushfires, but, it also talked about, like, the deforestation and stuff going on.
Oh, cool.
But, in that time period.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. Snow White. What's the difference with Snow White?
Ooh.
Wait, is Snow White a Hans Christian or Brothers Grimm?
Brothers Grimm.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to swap books so I can... keep up. Read along while you're teaching.
Okay. Well, I guess where was the first? What is the first thing?
Puss in Boots is in here. Sorry.
Puss in
In the
yes,
in the omitted tales, there's Puss in Boots.
which it shouldn't be in there because that is a Charles Perrault.
It's under omitted tales, so maybe it's ones that they didn't keep
Okay.
in the books. I don't know, because this is like a master, all new third edition, the complete list. So I don't know.
All right. Questionable.
Mm.
Anyway, moving on. So when a long time ago,
A long, long time
in a
ago,
land far, far away, there was a queen, and
there was a queen.
there was a queen. Not that kind of queen, but she wanted a daughter, and she would sit at her windowsill and she wished for, as a snowflake dropped onto her hand because it was winter.
Ooh.
She wished for her daughter to have skin as pale as the snow and
Poor kid.
lips as red as blood because she accidentally cut her hand, kind of thing. Anyway, besides the point.
What a weird way to pick the ethnicity of your child.
I know, right?
Mm.
And I want to preface this. I'm going off of memory right now because I do not have the book in front of me. But it's
There's Snow White and the Red Rose.
there are several different types of Snow White.
Several. Okay.
Um,
We want Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
yes. So it goes by and Snow White is born, and around the age of 7, unfortunately, her mother passes, and the king has to find a new wife in good old fashioned, stepmothers. They be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But at this age, Snow White is a child. It's fine. You don't have to worry about it. And the new stepmother is absolutely fucking bonkers.
Mm.
And does the whole everyday mad mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all kind of thing. And gets a response, you are. And she's like, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this goes on until Snow White turns 14. And then the mirror's like, hey, Snow White is fairer than you.
Minor.
Now, he could have been taught, in my opinion, maybe he was talking about, fairer in, personality. You are, compared to her, your personality and overall demeanor sucks fucking ass. But, we'll never know. It could just be the mirror being like, yeah, she hot. Which,
So-
again, minor.
I did find it.
Mm.
And it says, so, an excerpt from the book.
I probably got things wrong. I apologize.
No. You were very correct. She had a magic mirror, and often she stood in front of it, looked at herself, and said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this realm is the fairest of all?" Then the mirror would answer, "You, my queen, are the fairest of all." That reply would make her content, for she knew the mirror always told the truth. In the meantime, Snow White grew up and became more and more beautiful. By the time she was 7 years old, she was as beautiful as the day is clear, and more beautiful than the queen herself. One day, when the queen asked the mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this realm is the fairest of all?" the mirror answered, "You, my queen, may have a beauty quite rare, but Snow White is 1,000 times more fair."
Which I think speaks to the personality and overall kindness.
Mm-hmm.
That is how I take it. But people be stupid.
It's like Okay, yeah,
it's a misinterpretation of words.
Yeah, because I mean, misinterpretation of words, but also like, how vain is she that she has to be the hottest and only attractive person in the realm?
Exactly. And I think it's an interesting choice to take, because the words, you have a beauty that is rare, but she is more fair.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of deliberate.
Because I also take that as like having fair skin, like that's what her mother's wish was, for her to have skin as fair as
Yeah.
snow. So to say she's the fairest of them all
Yes.
just means she's pasty.
Yeah.
As fuck.
So there's that. And, you know, like, obviously, Queen, not happy about it.
No.
Like, what the hell? So, in good old, Brother Grimm fashion, she says to a huntsman, hey, take Snow White out into the woods and bring me back her heart and liver so I can eat it.
The way that you, like, I was reading the sentence as you said that, and the way that you almost had that so word for word is ridiculous, because it was, finally she summoned a huntsman and said, take the child out into the forest. I never want to lay eyes on her again. You are to kill her to bring me back her lungs and liver as proof of your deed.
Yeah. She was gonna eat them. We're gonna gloss over that a little bit, because, you know, cannibalism. And the huntsman's like, okay, sure, but he's a coward.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's probably a good thing that he's a coward. So he takes Snow White out into the woods and is like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do a stab. And I'm sorry for my
No, I fucking
interpretation.
no, because the way you're interpreting it is like still accurate. I'm reading the book along with you, and it's as if you're reading it.
I'm gonna do a stabby stab. I can't. And Snow White's like, oh. And he's like, all right, kid, go run off into the woods. Do not show your face here again. I'm doing this for your own good. Trust me, bro. And Snow White's like, okay, bye, and darts off further into the woods. Huntsman is like, okay, I still gotta bring it back proof, so what am I gonna do? I know, I'm gonna go get a pig, cut out its heart and lung, liver, and bring it back to the queen, and hopefully that'll suffice. And he does just that, and the queen's stupid and can't tell the difference between a human heart and a pig heart, which is significantly bigger, by the way, but we don't have to talk about that.
The one difference, you're saying heart. The book said lungs, and liver.
The one that I'm thinking of is a different version, but
intestines that she
tomato.
wants to eat. Yes.
Yeah. And she puts them in a pot, gobbles them up.
Boils them with salt and eats
Probably
them.
not. Probably one of the people that can't handle spice.
Probably.
So Snow White's running off into the woods, and, you know, Disney keeps it pretty normal. She encounters, you know, 7 dwarves, and in exchange for letting her shelter with them, you know, she cooks, she cleans, she makes sure that they taken care of, kind of thing. And the queen goes and asks the mirror, because obsession, and it's like, hey, am I the fairest of them all? And he's like, you are, you know, a beauty rare, it's true, but over the 7 mountains somewhere, Snow White lives, or something along those lines. Again, Emily?
In the book that I'm looking at right now. Since the queen believed she had eaten Snow White's liver and lungs, she was totally convinced that she was again the most beautiful woman in the realm. And then she went to the mirror and said, mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this realm is the fairest of all? The mirror answered, you, my queen, may have a beauty quite rare, but beyond the mountains, where the 7 dwarves dwell, Snow White is thriving, And this I must tell. Within this realm, she's still 1,000 times more fair.
Nice. I knew I had it somewhere in my brain. I'm like, it's like mountains, 7, something
Yeah,
going on.
I am amazed at how, like, good your memory is.
I have, like, again, my retelling is, questionable. I like it, though. But, Liz, I have a semi-encyclopedic knowledge of it. It's fine. So, the queen's like, absolutely feckin' not. I want to be hotter than this child, which says
Fucking
something
weird.
about her standards.
Yeah.
So she's like, alright, I'm gonna go take care of it. The first thing she does, I'm trying to remember the order this happens in. I believe it is a poison comb first.
A poison comb?
If not, it is a girdle. I might have it in the wrong order.
I'll lace you up properly for
girdle.
once.
Girdle. So she goes and she disguises herself as a peddler woman, and the dwarves say to Snow White, "Don't open the door for strangers. All right, stay inside, kind of thing. Like, don't be stupid."
And what does Snow White do?
She
Be stupid.
Stupido. Anyway, so she sees the old woman, and again, she's a child and she's stupid and can't recognize, because like there's no magic at this point really in the terms of like the queen turning herself into something. She's just in disguise, and it's like the 14th century. How good can a disguise be? And she's like, "Have you ever been properly laced into a corset? You are coming of age, you gotta get them men's, They're like a tiny waist, apparently." And Snow White's like, no, never really. He's like, "Well, let me do it for you. Let me lace you up right, like, tighten it." And this woman proceeds to, because, Snow White agrees, comes outside kind of thing, or lets her in, and this woman proceeds to do the corset up so tight that Snow White can't breathe, and she passes out. And, the queen thinks, she done did it, and runs away. Doesn't hide the body or anything, it's fine, just leave the child on the floor. The dwarves come back, they're like, "What the fuck? What?" And they like, check to see if, Snow White's still alive, and they undo the corset, and, she gets some air, and, like, she snaps back, kind of thing. And they're like, "Okay, we told you not to open the door, stupid. Don't do it again." And she's like, "Okay, I promise I won't do it." And the queen, thinking she's, like, killed this child, goes to the mirror, and is like, "Hey, alright, how about now?" And he's like, "You really are a stupid bitch." "No, you're not, okay? Just chill." And the queen, again, is like, "No," and goes, and this time with a poison comb. And proceeds to kind of do, like, the same spiel kind of thing, where it's same shit, different day. Dwarves are like, "No, don't open the door for strangers. Stay inside." And Snow White's like, "Alright, cool."
Bet.
That's my favorite attitude.
I love it so much. I'm gonna use you to bet. You should go drink some water. Okay, bet. It's just such aggressive, like, fucking watch me. Even though fucking watch me is aggressive enough.
Right?
Anyway.
So the queen goes and, like, is like, "Well, I have these lovely combs, and you have such nice ebony hair. Would you like a comb? Let me test this comb on your head." Snow White is like, "Bet!"
Oop. She did it again.
And as soon as the teeth of the comb hit this kid's head, because the queen's kind of putting pressure on it too, which is kind of like,
Stabbed.
stabby. Like, she gets knocked out.
Hmm.
And the queen's like, again,
Got you, bitch.
I done did it.
Surprise, bitch.
Doesn't check to see if she's actually, like, dead.
Hmm.
And runs away, because, like, I'm so smart, look at me go, I killed a child again! And dwarves come back, they're like, you have got to be fucking kidding me.
Hmm.
I know you're, like, prepubescent, but
Goddamn.
grow a brain.
Yeah.
Pull the comb out. She wakes up,
Hmm.
and they're like, don't do that, you stupid! And she's like, okay, I promise, no more,
I must say, I'm glad that Disney cut it down to just a poison apple.
right?
Yeah.
It's a long story.
Yeah.
And, you know, the same thing happened, the queen, blah, 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 blah. And this time, absolutely not. She's like, okay, we're gonna kill her. We're actually gonna kill her. Like, poison her. So this time, she goes, dwarves are out. Snow White is making it a mission to not open the door, but it's like one of those like weird like half door, like you know how like in, like they like the top opens like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so it's like that's open, but the bottom is so she's not going outside. She has sunlight coming in, she's fine. And the queen has once again disguised herself, and it's like, I have an apple. Would you like an apple? And at this point, Snow White kind of got a little common sense. She's like, I'm not supposed to take stuff from strangers. And the queen's like, well, you can trust me. I'm an old woman. What would I ever do? And, you know, Snow White's probably thinking, well, there have been 2 old women this week that have deceived me.
That look strangely like you.
But I am a child and have no facial recognition, so it's fine. And it's like, no, I can't take it. And the queen then splits the apple in half. It's like, here, I will eat this half to show you it is fine. And she does so. And Snow White's like, alright, I guess. She doesn't open the door. She sticks her hand out over the little precipice, takes it, eats it. Bodies. And the queen's like,
Death drops. Literally.
yes. She's slayed, but in the wrong way. Queen, 100% confident this time that she done did it. And runs away. Because, of course. Dwarves come back, and this time they can't wake her up. The apple lodged in her throat kind of thing. She's choking, she's died, she done did the death. So they put her in a glass coffin, but they can't bring themselves to bury her because she's so beautiful. So they put the coffin outside on their lawn so they can kind of look at it before they go to work kind of thing. Which, weird, but okay. Then Mr. Prince Necrophilia over here comes...
Yeah, I just got to that part. What the fuck?
Comes this way, you know, it's been a couple years, 7 to be exact. I had messed up earlier, 7, she was 7 originally, now she's 14. Alright, it's been 7 years since she died. They don't specify that in the book really, but it's fine. He comes along, sees her, like, man, she's pretty. Can I wake her up? Dwarf's like, no, she's dead, you dumbass. And he's like, well, can I have her? And they're like, why? I want to look at her. That's weird, dude. I'll pay you money. They're like, okay, I guess. And he takes, you know, her with, like, he has servants with him, takes her with him. Now, in the version I know, as they were carrying them back because they were hitting a lot of bumps along the road, the apple gets dislodged from her throat.
Mm-hmm.
And she wakes up. Keep in mind that, technically speaking, this chick has been dead for 7, like, clinically dead for 7 years.
Yep.
but it's fine. And he's like, first of all, Snow White's like, what happened? He's like, I'm gonna marry you.
"Oh Lord, where am I?" she exclaimed. The prince rejoiced and said, "You're with me," and told her what happened. Then he added, "I love you more than anything else in the world. Come with me to my father's castle. I want you to be my wife." Snow White felt he was sincere, so she went with him. Bitch!
Again, 14. What
But
do
I
they
mean,
know?
also, get it, girl. Why not?
The prince is 30 in this story.
I'm disregarding age.
Okay. That's fine.
If I was asleep for 7 years and woke up and some dude was like, "I love you, let's get married and be rich," I'd be like, okay.
So
Bet.
bet. All right. So Snow White is like, bet. And they go and they're gonna have their wedding. And the evil queen gets an invite from the prince being like, come to my wedding. You are royal. Blah. Doesn't say that, like, because, again, Snow White's dead. So, you know, she has nothing to worry about. She's been feeding her ego for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
They get to, or she gets to the wedding and sees, holy crap, it's Snow White. What the hell? And both the prince and Snow White knew what they were doing when they invited her. They, in the version I know, they seize her, put her feet into boiling hot iron shoes, essentially, and she dances to death because she can't get her feet out of them. Yeah. And
Yep.
that's how it ends.
So the slight difference was not even a slight difference, but so stepmother got invited, dressed herself in beautiful clothes. She went to the mirror and said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" The mirror answered, "You, my queen, have a beauty quite rare, but Snow White's is 1,000 more fair." The evil woman uttered a loud curse and became terribly afraid. Didn't know if she wanted to go to the wedding, but she had to see the young queen for herself. The evil queen was so petrified with fright when she walked in and recognized Snow White that she could not budge. Iron slippers had already been heated over a fire, and they were brought over to her with tongs. Finally, she had to put on the red hot slippers and dance until she fell down dead. But why iron hot slippers?
Ironically, there is a...
Cinch that bitch in a corset, stab a poisoned comb into her head, and shove an apple down her throat. Boom, bam.
I mean, I kind of like the idea, I guess, is like to watch her suffer in a sense, because like, you know,
True.
like
What a wedding. Hey, we're
Right.
gonna invite my horrible person,
mother-in-law, not mother-in-law, stepmother.
my stepmother, and we're gonna murder her and watch it happen at our wedding.
Yeah, which there are a lot of feet-related
Yeah.
fairy tales.
Yeah. Very much so.
Like, there is one called The Red Shoes. You know, there's, technically speaking, The Little Mermaid,
Cinderella.
Cinderella. We might be learning some things about some people.
Yeah. Very feet-related things to learn, apparently.
Which, again, you know, whatever floats your boat and rocks your socks, you know? I just...
I feel like we could go on forever about these because I also know that there's a big thing with Little Red Riding Hood. But I feel like out of all of them, that one's maybe the vaguely... Because, like, the wolf legitimately eats the grandmother in the actual one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Except they just faked it for Disney. But
I mean, they didn't really do a Disney version of it.
I guess, yeah, there is no Little Red Riding Hood Disney version.
Because,
I guess the...
because any way you spin it. out
She's
of
not
all-
marrying the wolf at the end.
No, all the versions that I know of the
Mm.
Little Red Riding Hood, there is no way to spin it that it's good.
And you can romanticize it.
Can't romanticize it, can't really make a moral out of it.
Mm.
They're all relatively morbid kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of, as we were discussing this, I was kind of flipping through the book and like just looking at the titles just to see what ones piqued my interest.
Mm.
And 100% I want to read some more, and then we'll do it like not as colloquially known
Yes.
ones.
Let's talk about the tinderbox.
The tinderbox.
The tinderbox.
Well, we'll save that for next round of spooky fairy tales.
If you don't know and would like to know more about fairy tales, I recommend Fucked Up Fairy Tales with Liz. They are on TikTok and they are
Oh.
amazing.
Fun.
They do retellings a little bit better, much better than how I do them. They are super fun and they cover a wide variety from Charles Perrault to Eastern fairy tales.
Are they the one you sent me, the Pocahontas one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are incredible. I highly recommend. And on Fridays they do Fable Friday, or they used to. So, yeah,
Damn.
if you want to join us on this little journey,
Yeah, check it out. We don't usually do it in episode, but follow us on socials. We need people to interact with posts to help us decide on topics that we're going to talk about in future episodes and things. So follow us on social media so we have people to talk to and it's not just ourselves through our own. Both of us have access to our Gremlins by Nature
we
TikTok.
talk to each other.
Yeah, we just talk to each other through the posts, and it's very sad.
Like, just like our Twitter threads are fantastic.
We have Devin interacts and
Yeah.
Kenny. He's interacted with a few.
They do,
and
but like I just like how like a lot of it is just
us talking to each other.
yeah,
Sometimes not. Like sometimes you'll be on the Gremlins account and I'll be on my personal,
and then we swap.
and then we swap. But then also there's been many times where it's just we're both posting through Gremlins talking to each other.
Which gotta love that.
Yeah.
We're great at communication.
Yeah.
What's that? Us talking about several different things on several different social medias, and none of them pertain to each other. And then we also have a
Whoops.
texting thing going.
Yeah.
Couldn't
be us.
No.
No.
We're not neurospicy.
We're totally good at this. If I had more time and I didn't work so much, I would definitely love to put a little bit more energy into this, but join our Patreon so we can quit our real jobs. So
I mean,
Emily can quit her
I
real
was gonna
job.
say, I like my job.
So Emily
I
can
know-
quit
I
her
know
real
you
job
like
and
your
do
job
fun
too,
things.
But I was like,
I do.
I went to school for this.
I'm in crisis mode about my job, but that's a whole nother podcast. So we'll do we haven't done a life update podcast in a while.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be a next
We
one
got
we do.
things to update about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're interesting people.
you are.
No. No. Okay, that's all for now.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Tell us if you have any favorite tales that aren't like the Disney ones that have been redone or like commonly known ones, or even like region specific. Like,
yeah. Please talk to us about
I love this shit.
like more like Eastern tales, and maybe even if you know more of like the African folklore. I would love to learn more about that because mine's-
Patty, holler at us. Tell us some cool shit.
Yeah, mine's mainly like Eurocentric.
Yeah. Cool.
It's white.
Thanks for listening, folks. Bye.
Bye.
Love yous. Hey y'all, we just wanted to pop back in here at the end of the episode and thank you again for listening and let you know where you can find us.
You can find me, Kira, on all social platforms under the name Fish Antlers. I also have an online store. Maybe check it out. It's also called Fish Antlers.
And you can find me, Emily, on all social media platforms under Lil Halfling for my personal account, or Seymour Snaps for some photography stuff that is mentioned in quite a few of our episodes. But it's fun to do.
For more Gremlins by Nature, we are on all socials at Gremlins by Nature. We'd love to hear from you guys, so tag us or hashtag the GBN pod or Gremlins by Nature and let us know what you want to hear us talk about.
Or if you have any additional stories or information on things we've already talked about, we want to hear about that too.
You can listen to our episodes every second Friday, anywhere you can listen to podcasts. And if you can't find us where you normally listen, let us know and we'll add ourselves there.
Thanks all. Bye.